Hello! Today I'm going to be making my third Nerdy Nummy cake. The most popular request in the comments was for, drumroll please, Starcraft cake! On a serious note, the Starcraft community is a really loyal and strong community, so I'm actually a little bit nervous to make this cake because I'm scared if I mess up or I make the cake really ugly that the Starcraft community is just going to be like, shame corner, little one! And then I'll never come out the shame corner. So to avoid any mess ups today, there will be no rushing of any kind. Sorry, that was really bad. The cake build that I'm going to attempt today is going to be a single level topped with fondant and decorated with each of the race's logos and sprinkled a little extra love for Protoss. I chose to make a yellow cake using box cake mix. I love box cakes because they save a lot of time and they are yummy. I'm also using free-range eggs. They're a bit more expensive, but I like supporting free-range foods when I can. If you have a favorite cake recipe, use it. You can use just about any recipe that you'd like. I would just avoid using anything that would make the surface lumpy, such as large chocolate chips or nuts. When you're baking a cake using fondant, you just really want a smooth surface. I cut out a square-shaped template to fit the size of the cake band to my desired cake size. I then align the template on the top of the cake and begin to cut. Before cutting your cake, just make sure that it is completely cooled. Once your shape is cut out, it's time to frost! I'm using a vanilla buttercream frosting. I would suggest avoiding any whipped frostings because they don't make the best substrate to lay fondant on. I also bought one of these fancy new little cake spreader jobbers. I still don't know the name of it, but it works way better than a butter knife. I divided the task of decoration into sections according to color, starting with the cake's base color. I dyed the base color to look like Zergy creep. After making some measurements, I cut a large square to the size that would cover the entire cake, and then cut it out. With the help of my foxy friend Dodger, we align the fondant and carefully put it over the top of the cake, using the wax paper for support. We then press the fondant down so it sticks to the frosting underneath. High fives! It worked this time! After cutting off the excess fondant at the bottom of the cake, I can start the next decoration color, yellow. I roll out the yellow fondant into a long strip. Then cut out a long rectangle shape which I pre-measured. Then place the strip on the cake and again cut off the excess fondant. After cutting out an image of the Protoss logo, I use it as a template and cut the shape out into a piece of thick yellow fondant. This way it will really stand out. To create a cool 3D look, I decided to cut out the inner design of the Protoss logo instead of drawing it on. Using a piece of paper for support, I gently place the Protoss logo onto the cake. Then I place the 3D inner design of the logo on top, and adjust as needed. Ta-da! The yellow decoration section is done, and now it's time for blue. Blue and yellow, blue and yellow. This is where small fingers come in handy. I carefully place the blue fondant to look like little energy currents onto the cake. Then I roll a small ball of blue fondant and carefully place it on top of all the little energy currents. Boop boop. Then I add the last two pieces of the Protoss logo to the cake. Boom! Protoss! I'm cutting out a smaller sized Terran logo to place on top of the yellow decoration strip on the cake. The Terran's black accent piece can be a bit tricky to cut out because the lines are so thin. I would suggest letting the fondant harden a little bit before moving it. Once the black accent piece has been placed on top, you can use a knife to create a super straight edge. Boom! To get the light purple color that I want for the Zerg logo, I dip my white fondant into 3 drops of purple food coloring. Keep working the dye into the fondant. It just takes time for the color to absorb evenly. Dance parties help too. Yes. As soon as the fondant resembles the desired color, I roll it out and place an image of the Zerg logo on top. This image was the hardest for me to cut out because it is super detailed. I would suggest going slow and taking your time. Micro skills. I then place the final Zergy Buggy logo onto the cake. GG, ladies and gentlemen, GG. It is good to be done. If you have any other suggestions of any other nerdy nummies that you would like me to bake, please leave me a comment and I will do my best to make them happen. Also, a big thank you to someone. They mailed me these 8-bit bows and I love them. They're from my favorite store, Think Geek, and I think they were my good luck charms. So thank you. Okay, bye!